You know, I tell you.
Come on in, man. I just whacked my toe on the banister. Oh my gosh, I just whacked the crap out of myself.
You what?
No matter how many times I see this guy.
Put your hands up. Around. Push everybody back.
Every time, man.
You're the right to remain silent.
Kenneth Brinkman. Every time, bro.
For law, do you understand that?
Oh, this clown.
You got a right to talk to the lawyer and have him present with you while you're being questioned. You understand that?
Yes.
Not afford to hire a lawyer. One will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Here, let me show you.
Come on in, man. I just whacked my toe on the banister. Oh my gosh, I just whacked the crap out of myself.
You what?
Oh. He tries to sneak away. It's cold.
Hands up.
Look at his hands.
Around. Push everybody back.
Oh, Brinkman.
Listen up.
Oh,
You got the right to remain
Brinkman.
silent. You understand that?
You gotta see the episode.
And then you say it can't be used against you in the court of law.
I
You
tell
understand
you,
that?
it's like, no shit,
Yes or
every
no?
time.
You have the right to talk to the lawyer.
Brinkman is pure gold comedy, man. And do you know, this is going to be, do you know what Brinkman does now? Oh, mate, this is what Joey put up the other day. Brinkman is now like a pastor or something. It's true. It's gold.
One right before he called me.
This episode is dedicated to the legend himself, the Brinkman. This is a look back at the episodes that I've put up in the past, and the tribute to the Temple of TCAP. This is our offering, the Brinkman, across the year. If you can put up with the bad audio, they're worth a giggle or two. Anyway, here's episode 1 from yesteryear. This episode by itself. This is this pervert Ken that was caught up in the legend himself, the TCAP episode with Chris Hansen. Oh, Ken the pervert here has come to meet up with a 14-year-old boy, but instead runs smack into the man himself. It's gold. Anyway, enjoy.
I hit my toe on the banister. Oh, I gotta go get a Band-Aid. Now I'm bleeding, and I'm gonna get shot if I bleed on the rug.
Oh, no.
Hold on, hang out at the bar for a second. I'll be right back down, all right?
Okay.
Cool. Hey, Ken.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming out here, man.
Okay, cool.
I was having, like, such a crappy night. I'm sorry that, like, you got all weirded out when you saw me the first time.
Here we go with
I got weirded out. I couldn't see an address. I mean, I seen it on the mailbox.
Yeah, it's totally, like, weirded out, isn't it? Anyway, sorry. I found a Band-Aid. I'll be right back down. I just have to wipe it off, or else I'm gonna get an infection. Have you ever got, like, one of those ingrown toenails?
Yeah.
I got one once, and it hurt so freaking bad.
How are you, sir?
Okay.
Why don't you do me a favor and have a seat on the stool right on the other side of the bar there?
The thing is, this clown has no idea.
Sure.
He has no idea it's Hanson.
What's going on? Why are you here?
This gentleman.
This gentleman.
Gentleman.
And how old is the gentleman you came here to meet?
He told me that he was 15, I believe.
15?
Try another number.
I'll try again.
That's what I remember.
114.
Oh,
How old
Boy.
are you?
43.
40.
12 plus 2.
And you came here to meet a teenage boy.
12 plus 2, boy.
I told him I was coming to meet and talk.
Just to meet and talk.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your plan once you got here?
We've got the transcripts, baby.
Talk?
Just that.
Yeah.
And you thought that was appropriate for you as a grown man, 43 years old, to come here to meet a teenage boy who was home alone.
I had my reservations,
Your reservations.
but he asked me to.
So that made it okay.
The kid's fault.
I didn't see any harm in just chatting with him, no.
Just chat.
You can chat on the phone. Can you?
Now, do you have nieces and nephews?
Oh, yeah. All the way up to 22 or 23. Actually, I think Dustin may be 24.
Yeah. Now, would you be comfortable if a grown man came into a home where one of your nephews was alone? Would that be okay with you?
Well, I guess it would depend on what their intentions were.
Their intentions are only one thing.
See, now you're telling me your intentions were one thing, but based upon the internet conversation you had with...
And he's hoping, I hope they haven't got it. I hope they haven't got it.
Your intentions seem like something very different.
I think the last conversation that I had with
Yeah, just before I come over.
was that I was coming to meet and chat. He led some other, or
He led.
I don't want to say he led, but he kind of gave that it may be more, and I said no. You know, I says, well, I'm coming to talk and chat to meet and chat.
Sure you are.
Do you do this often?
All the time.
As far as with younger kids,
Yeah.
Younger kids. Buries him.
I would say that, I thought he was 15, but I would say that,
Well, 15, 14. I mean, what's
right,
the...
well,
that's
I
really-
agree.
He says right here, hello, hi, 14 male, 14 years old, yeah, oh my, what are you doing in here? How are you? I like talking to other gay people, doing well, thanks. So he says it's 14 right there.
That may have been later in the week or something like that, I don't know.
The 19th of March, 11:35 p.m. I mean, that's the chat log, so 14.
Well, he knew I was very concerned about chatting with him and even meeting up with him.
But despite your concern, you showed up anyway.
Well, I think because of the way that he was telling me that his parents were gone to Vegas and he was alone and stuff like that.
So you were just coming over here to babysit him? To keep an eye on him?
No, I didn't think that he needed a babysitter. You know?
What did you think he did need?
I didn't think that he needed anything, really. I mean, he even asked me to buy him beer, and I says, no way.
You say, I just love playing and blanking a man's blank.
Well, those were the conversations that he was having
whatever.
also.
These are your
The
words.
conversations he was having sex talk with me. Of that
We had
chat.
some that chat. But if you go back and look at our last conversation
Yes, brother.
today or tonight, there was some conversation about beer, and I says, no, I won't do that.
Lucky save.
Here you say, I have to ask this. Are you a cop? Why did you ask if he was a cop?
Because of the age.
He should carry on.
I mean, I haven't
Because of
done,
the
I haven't
age.
done a thing with him,
This guy's a cool.
and I mean, look at what I'm doing. I'm sitting here talking
Yes.
to you over it, you know? So, I mean,
And if it was a whānau member that walked in on you, you'd probably be a shovel or a pick in your head, eh? Or a bullet. Depends on what country you come from. But definitely,
It sounds like
definitely.
no.
Have you ever
It's the father. If it's a relative, he's not talking to you at all.
you talk about
Man or woman. Man. Manu or wahine. Doesn't matter. They're a whānau member. Kenny's fucking gone.
read it to you.
I don't, you know, I mean,
Stay at home, Kenny.
you chat with a
Stay
lot of
at
people in
home.
those chat rooms.
Check a little bit on the chat rooms.
You ask about his homosexuality. You say, well, you're a good-looking guy, but then you say, please delete that picture of me. Why did you want him to delete the picture of you that you had sent him?
Because of cops.
I deleted his. I mean, I don't keep pictures on my...
He's so truthful, yet lying, simply lying.
You say you better not be getting me into trouble.
It's just starting to dawn on
That's not good.
that he's a
It's
shit.
not, because, you know, I mean, look what's happened here. Even though I haven't done anything with the guy, look, I mean, look what's happened.
You're in someone
So
else's
you have
house.
that dark hair. Do you have any body hair?
That alone gets you dead.
Yeah.
Some people.
I mean, those are normal chat things on...
It's normal chat things with a 14-year-old boy?
Kenny, he's fucked. It's
You're
amazing.
underage, and then what if you got pissed at me sometime? I would go to jail.
I'm going to jail.
You say you're very cool and very safe. Did you bring condoms with you tonight?
No. I didn't even bring my wallet. I walked out and left my wallet on the...
So he was
How
so
was the ride over?
he was so into it. He left his wallet.
How was my ride over?
Over here.
Oh, it's fine.
Rushed out the door.
How far did you
They
travel?
call it a bum rush.
I live in Kettering.
I don't know.
How far is that from where
We'll
we're
just call it one. Bum rush out
Let's
the
say
door.
30 miles, 33 miles, something like that.
How much is that in K's? I know someone is going to be first to write that down. How much is that in K's? We're in K's.
According to what the directions he gave me was 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
I'm sorry, 45 mile.
45 mile.
45 miles.
Yeah.
So you drove 45 miles just to, what, chat with this kid?
Chat with the kid.
The guy,
So that was a big tick
told
on
me
that
his parents
pedophile
were in
list.
Vegas,
On the
you know,
fucking hell.
and
Is he a cop? Tick.
I mean, I even said in the email, hey, I'm coming to meet.
Make sure you say
chat.
meet and chat.
You also say in your chat, so you have a nice blank.
What's that now?
So you have a nice cock.
I was just coming over to chat.
Yes, I did.
Oh, yeah. Throw that in there.
I think he asked
Just what?
about mine too.
And you go into great detail on that.
Oh, someone should get that.
You see why
Someone
it's
should
hard
get
for
that
me
and
to
read that.
believe that you were just here.
The other story on this guy is out of it. He's on like a whole bunch of sites. So I'll leave the things below, the links below.
43.
But Hanson's out again, and the new one, man, you've got to get. Yeah, you've got to see it. He's gold.
You ask him if he's horny, and then say, I wish you were not so far away.
True blue. Yeah, true blue, Hanson.
What conclusion can I draw from this?
I totally understand.
I totally understand.
What do you do for a living?
That's a big sign.
I manage an audit department for a major oil company.
Not
25 years.
anymore. Managed 25 years,
Absolutely.
major oil company.
I'm fucking scared of that.
Fuck. It's probably fucking back then. High fives, maybe many 6. Jeez.
How do you defend this man?
Well, I should have never came here. No matter what, you know, you always hear stories online about
Perverts.
situations like this, and no matter how you feel about, I mean, it doesn't matter what they're saying to you.
What's he talking about?
You know, you just have to
What
say
is he
that.
talking about?
The hell with it.
I'm not going to
You have
go because it could be like
an addiction to
Busted.
the internet? Or a compulsion?
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean,
now he tries to emphasize.
I live on the computer at work.
Listen to it.
So, you know, but I mean, and I chat all the time
Trying to
with my
sound
mom.
human.
You know, she's got cancer and isn't and that's, we communicate all the time.
Oh shit, you can go now.
You know,
Yes,
through
sir.
the internet. And you know, and I have friends that I talk with online, but I mean, this was the first time I've ever chatted with someone at this age, you know?
I mean, aren't there enough 21-year-olds and over to chat with?
Well, actually, I mean, most guys that talk to me are in that age, I mean, 25, 26 years old.
Well, nobody cares about that.
Well, I know.
Those are adults.
But, well, you're right. You're right.
I mean, what people get upset about, what the law has an issue with, is 14, 13, 12-year-old kid.
Well, I know. And that was...
I mean, what goes on between adults is nobody's business but the adults.
Absolutely.
But when it gets down to this, can you see why somebody would have an issue?
Oh, yeah. But I can tell you right now, I mean, nothing sexually would ever happen with me and this kid. That's just, I know how I am.
I know, but based upon the chat,
I know.
it sounds like you were getting ready to have a big old night of sex with this kid.
No. I don't even have sex with men my age the first time I meet them. Period.
Well, if you had to sum it up, how did you end up here tonight?
Sum it up.
Because he asked me to do it.
I know, but because a 14-year-old asks you to do something doesn't mean you do it.
Well,
Kenny does.
And you're right in the sense that
Uncle Kenny does.
there are, I mean, it's a dangerous thing. I mean, in his shoes, I know what I'm like.
Yeah.
You know, and
Exactly.
I know that, you know, I'm good at conversation. I'm good company.
And a pervert.
I'm not talking sex or anything like that. You know?
Talking
So he's
sex
not-
in the
Oh, yeah,
He's no good at sex.
yeah, we both were.
I know, but there's a difference. You're
Conversation.
43 years old, and he's
Right.
Yeah, you're
You're
a
right.
pervert and he's a kid.
You're right.
so.
You're a fucking pervert and he's a goddamn
I
kid.
understand.
Do you know that it's illegal to solicit somebody this age over the internet?
The definition of solicit.
I didn't think that I
Entice.
was.
Just think about entice.
I mean, we didn't
Proposition.
agree to sex.
Luring.
We did
Grooming.
not agree to sex at all.
Sexually charged conversation, certainly.
Is this slagging?
I mean, you know what you said.
We all know
Read
what
the
you said.
quotes.
Now.
What do you think should happen to you tonight?
This is a card pulls fast. Gold.
Well, right now I'm scared to death.
Should be scared to death. You have no
I
idea.
just want to go home.
I just want to go home. Well,
Well, there's a couple things that you have to know.
this is with.
One is that I'm Chris Hansen, Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story about adults hooking up teenagers on the internet. If you have anything else you'd like to say, we'd like to hear it. If not, obviously, free to go.
Please say it on TV.
We don't know. We're working on a story. No decision.
This next sounds just gold, though.
What is or is not going to be in. We're just in the early stages of this.
Whispering.
That's just as bad as getting arrested. You know?
Walk out that door, bro.
I mean, I'm just being straight up with you. I don't know, and there's no.
Good one, Hanson. Good one. I'm not arresting you. Wow. Then he's thinking, I'm in the clear. I can get out of here.
Absolutely. Free to go.
And I've been taught a lesson. Big time.
Yeah.
You know, this is not the first time we've done a story like this.
Fuck, he doesn't watch TV. He's always on Pornhub or something.
Don't forget that.
Walk out the door. Slammed it now. No, it's not. It's not a Diana Ross moment. He thinks he's got away with it. He's in the clear. That's over.
Hands up! Around, girl.
Oh no, kidding.
Silent. You understand that?
So anyways, that was episode 1, and now let's look at episode 2. This comes before, I made this one before I made the other one you just saw, so this is early COVID. So Ken here thought he'd struck pervert gold. See, he's been talking online with who he thinks is a 14-year-old boy from Greenville of US of A. Boy had told Ken parents weren't home, so Kenneth here got in his little car and ripped on over to this 14-year-old kid's house. You see, Ken here, he took the bait. You see, Ken here hasn't been talking to a 14-year-old kid. Instead, he's been talking to an employee of this guy. This guy's called Chris Hansen. He's a legend. And he just happens to work for
NBC.
And he's running an undercover pervert sting. So Kenneth here has been busted. Chris is winding up his interview. You see, Ken here, Ken the pervert, doesn't watch TV, so he doesn't know Chris Hansen. He has no idea he's being videotaped for a hit TV show called To Catch a Predator. So let the lesson begin.
What do you think should happen to you, Fred?
Well, right now I'm scared to death. I just want to go home.
Well, there's a couple things that you have to know. One is that I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC. We're doing a story about adults hooking up with teenagers on the internet. If you have anything else you'd like to say, we'd like to hear it. If not, you're obviously free to go.
So this is going to be on TV?
We don't know. We're working on a story. No decisions have been made as to what is or is not going to be in it. We're just in the early stages of this story.
That's just as bad as getting arrested. And I've been taught a lesson. Big time.
You know, this is not the first time we've done a story like this.
I don't know.
Okay. Don't forget your jacket.
Put your hands up. Turn around. Put your hands on your back. Listen up. You have the right to remain silent. You understand that? Anything you say can't will be used against you in a court of law. Do you understand that?
Yes or no?
Yes.
You have the right to talk to the lawyer and have him present with you while you're being questioned. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The bull interrogation technique. All you have to do is take one old bull from Kentucky and poke it with a pervert. The bull interrogation technique.
Can I have some questions I want to ask you? Are you willing to talk to me?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to be truthful with me. Okay. About
Can you
everything.
push my glasses up?
Okay. I want you to be truthful with me about everything I ask you about. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Why did you come to the house out there on 5K Avenue today, or tonight, this morning?
Well, I had been chatting with, who said he was Rocky, I think maybe a week or so. And so anyway, we started chatting tonight.
What's her name?
You know, and I asked him on different occasions if he was a cop or anything like that. I mean, I normally do.
Do you know how old that Rocky was, or how old Rocky told you he was before you come to visit him?
I thought he said that he was 15, but the guy when he was talking to me in the basement said he was 14.
Well, I've got the logs from your chats, okay? And he told you he was 14 years old.
Okay.
Now, is he 14 or is he 15?
Well, I have to say 14 if that's what the log says.
Okay. Did you have any phone conversations with Rocky when you were coming to see him?
Just tonight.
What did you talk about each time? Did you ever have any sexual conversations with him?
The point is to think about it as if you were this giant-sized cop. And instead of being downtown in the thick of it, busting heads and cracking skulls like we always do, no, he's sitting across the table with some dude asking him what he likes in bed at night. Let's go. No wonder this dude's angry. No wonder this cop is fuming.
What did they entail?
Well, he told me about an experience he had with a cousin.
What did the two of you talk about? What sexually explicit things did you two talk about?
He said something about what happened with his cousin would be cool with us.
What did you talk about sexually?
Sexually?
Yes.
Size. That was really about it. Sucking.
Ethical question. Yeah, Big Bull here is asking little Ken the ethical question. You're on the high road with the ethical question, then you're always going to win. That means that the whole interview is about an ethic, which is exactly what he asks.
This kid posed himself to you as being a 14-year-old, and that's the conversation that you're having with him?
Well, yeah, but he was having the same type of conversation.
And he posed to you as being 14 years old.
Well, I didn't see any harm in that, because it wasn't something we were talking about with us.
What's that? Oh boy, the stuff. Oh boy, the when it goes in your mouth. Jungle mania. Oh, now I never waste a load. Laugh out loud. Okay. Jungle mania. Would you like that?
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah. Because it's right here on the chat log.
I never said that that's what I wanted to do with him. It was the conversation that we were having. I don't know what his age was, and look what the hell happened.
If he represented you as he was 14 years old, you didn't care. If he was 14 years old, you didn't care. It didn't bother you that he was 14 years old.
Well, it depends if
and you're carrying on these kind of conversations with what you believe is a 14-year-old kid. Then you come up here tonight just to meet me.
Absolutely. And I do that with anybody that I meet online.
So you do this often?
No.
What made you do it this time?
Because his parents were in Las Vegas and he was bored.
You're carrying on these explicit conversations with a 14-year-old, knowing that his parents are not home and didn't expect to have any kind of sexual contact with him.
Absolutely.
She tells you.
That is one giant cop. That is exactly the look that I have in my mind about what a cop or a sheriff in the southern states of the USA looks like. That is exactly how I picture them, man. Like bulls.
So tell me again what you came up here to do with him tonight.
I came here strictly to meet and chat with Rocky. When I couldn't find the house, I even left.
For 5+ years?
How many times did you drive around that house tonight?
I think 4 times before I left.
You're telling me that you came up here just to meet him after all this conversation with him about sexually explicit things, about oral sex, in his mouth, coming in somebody's mouth.
I didn't talk to him about in his mouth.
Why did you come to see him then?
I came here to meet and to chat with him, and that was it.
However the situation takes.
Why didn't you just chat with him online?
I was.
Why did you come up here to chat with
Because
him?
he asked me to.
She said, yeah, we can have sex.
And I asked him several times if he was a cop, and he said no.
Why was you worried if he was a cop?
Well, because of the age. I mean, in the situation I'm in right now, I did nothing with the kid.
I think he had plans on coming up here and doing something with the kid.
I'm
Okay?
sure
Do you understand
do.
why I feel that way?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you do. But I'm telling you that I didn't. I don't have the intentions of doing that with anybody that I meet online. I don't care if they're 40.
8:51 tonight. Okay? 8:52 last night, I'm sorry. So are you horny? That's you asking this. Yep. Jungle Mania, laugh out loud. Jungle Mania, good man. My point is, you're talking about sex online to this person. Why you're denying that you came up here and your intentions weren't to have some kind of sex with the 14-year-old, I don't believe.
Well, and you have that right to do that. You don't know me any more than I know you. And if I was coming up here to have sex with him, I'd have had condoms or something with me. And
There's
I
no
don't have
condoms or anything in your car?
it. No,
None in your billfold?
no.
None anywhere? And you'll give us a consent to search your vehicle?
Sure.
Okay. Because that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, that's
okay?
fine.
Do you have any explicit images of any children in your car or at work or at home?
There's on my computer. There's probably a few pictures of the people have sent me, but I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you that they're what the ages are. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you have to judge that.
Do you care what the ages are?
Well, of course I care. I mean, we have never exchanged explicit pictures.
Lots of laughs, is that what it means?
I mean, that's Rocky and I never ever exchanged any type of nude pictures or nothing.
We'll read you some more chat.
You guess.
Okay.
I don't know, that's why I asked.
Oh boy. So what you doing? Jungle Mania. Just cleaning the living room, and what are you doing? Oh boy. Nothing at all really. Jungle Mania. Cool. Oh boy. Yeah, about as cool as cleaning. Jungle Mania. So do you have a nice
Yeah, but what were we talking about prior to that?
cleaning?
No, I mean,
It doesn't matter what you're talking about prior to it. You're asking him something sexually explicit.
Can I tell you?
Correct?
Friday evening?
Okay.
He says, when? This Friday. Like, your parents are going.
but he was in that chat.
Yeah.
Does that make it okay if you know it's a 14-year-old kid and you're asking him how big his is or how nice his is?
I did not realize that it was.
Do I need to go back to this first page on this chat when you ask how old he is?
No, he's in the chat room, you know, and
So that makes it okay.
talk is talk. I mean, hell, they do it in high school. You know,
Does that make it okay?
No, it's
You're
not.
how old, Ken?
You're right. It's not.
Okay.
It's not. And when I was his age, I wouldn't even be talking about it.
Exactly.
Does it have street after it, or is it just, that's it?
Do you have any children?
No.
How, if you did have a child, how would you feel if they got online and was talking to somebody like this as a parent?
Well, as a parent, my kids wouldn't be online.
On UK campus,
Period.
There.
I work in the library.
Work in the library.
And I mean, I've got nieces and nephews that are, you know, teenagers, and you know, I'm constantly telling their moms, "Hey,
Why do you tell them that?
well, because I'm in the chat rooms, I know what goes on in those chat rooms."
But it doesn't matter that you're chatting with somebody that's 14 years old.
Well, I think the intentions were different. I mean, I know what my intentions are.
So do I.
Well,
Okay? It's pretty obvious, Ken.
no, it's not.
Yes,
Not to
it is.
me. I know what I am.
I don't know, sir.
And what is that?
I'm a man with a good heart. The kid was lonely, bored, and that's all it was.
So that's why you asked him how big his penis was.
That had nothing to do with.
That's all part of this chat.
Well, we had been chatting for how long?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Most of this chat is from tonight.
Well, there was chat earlier. I mean, a week ago, the middle of last week, because we've chatted like 2 or 3 different times.
And each time you talk about sexually explicit things with him.
Not the whole time, but
I
yeah.
didn't say the whole time. I said
Yeah.
each time.
Do you know what your license plate number is?
Okay?
No, sir. I don't.
And you know, so
Is it right?
How long have you lived in this question?
I guess the way that he carried himself, you would assume that on my end that
Bearing in mind he's 14 years old.
right. But I'm saying the way that he came in and was chatting, whether it's right or wrong. I mean, you know.
Bearing in mind that he's 14 years old,
Tell me right now and send me the
it made it all right for you to ask him those questions.
You want to sign this, giving me permission to search any officer that...
No, but some of them I was answering these questions. I guess I could have been rude and just say it's none of your business.
But when you ask him his penis size, I'm going to be honest with you, and again, I don't believe your story.
Okay.
You're not being truthful with me. Your body language tells me that. I'm an investigator.
I've been 100% truthful with you on what my intentions were for tonight. I'm not like some of the other people that you may pick up on there. That's just not me.
Well, let me tell you how similar in conversation your conversation is with other people on the internet chatting with kids that are this age. It's very similar.
Well,
Okay?
okay.
It's very similar. You're the 9th person tonight that we've arrested for this.
I know that when I meet people my age, they think, now I'm just giving you an example.
This is not someone your age.
I know, but when I do meet people my age, they think that I'm going to do anything with them, and that's just not me.
Asking somebody repeatedly, are you horny? And then you just show up at their house and just say, I just want to talk.
That was just in conversation. That was not even when we had decided.
If I ask you if you're horny, what does that mean to you?
He's in a.
If I ask you if you're horny, what does that mean to you?
To me, it's an everyday thing for me.
You ask him in here if he was horny, and you say, I wish you lived closer.
Correct.
Why?
Only because he was an hour away.
Tell me what the give me that phone number on there.
You know, during the whole conversation, I mean, you're looking at,
All we're doing is picking out certain excerpts from this
Right. And trying
about
to-
your conversation that shows that you had sexually explicit conversation with him.
I did, and I won't deny that. But that doesn't mean that I came here to have sex with him.
You want to look, give me your phone number, please?
That's my point, is that it doesn't mean.
If the opportunity would arose, you wouldn't have taken it.
Absolutely not. Nope. I just don't do it.
Not too many people drive an hour at midnight
Where's he
just to talk, do they?
That was a conversation not tonight.
It doesn't matter. What are you asking him to sneak out to do?
Oh, I know. I understand.
What? Okay.
I understand where you're coming from, but you know, that was like the first chat we ever
It
had.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay? Come on, Ken. Honestly,
You're asking me why I'm here tonight, why I came up here tonight.
why are you chatting with him?
Well,
Why are you talking about sexually explicit things? Why are you talking about with him?
because that's where the conversation went, which
But you
is
knew he
wrong.
was 14 years
You're
old.
right. I agree.
What? Then tell me why that the conversation had to be the sexually explicit conversation that you had with him, rather than that about what's your favorite sport, who's your favorite actor, how's your grades in school.
I was just following his conversation.
But you're the adult.
I agree with that.
Why didn't you stop it? When it got to that point, why didn't you stop it?
I should have.
We'll take one more here, okay?
Okay, sir.
Your eyes on.
So you know it was wrong,
Yeah.
and you did it anyway.
I guess at the time I did not see it as being wrong because he was in the chat room and it was just talk.
I'd like to tell the prosecutor that you cooperated.
What did that lead
But I
to?
can't do that.
That chat and that talk, what did that ultimately lead to?
Definitely led to more than what I ever anticipated.
What did it lead to tonight?
Tonight.
Where are you at?
I'm right here in trouble.
On your computer.
If you would have kept the conversation to something such as sports or whatever, school, do you think that you'd be here tonight?
No nudity, no child porn.
I think, would I have met him? I think so.
If the conversation would have stayed sports and not sex?
Yeah, I mean, because I was dwelling more on the fact that he was bored. He said his parents were gone for 4 days.
Did you think that was rather strange for a 14-year-old to be gone, or for his parents to be gone for 4 days and leave him at the house by himself?
I didn't really find it to be strange, just simply because early on, like a week ago when we were chatting, the fact that, you know, he led me to believe that his parents kind of let him do what he wanted to do, you know, as far as, I mean, hell, he was online at midnight, you know, and I was like, don't you have school? Well, yeah. And then he said something, one time he said something about his mom coming in and telling him to go to bed. It's like, well, you probably ought to, you know, you got school.
You think his mom would have known about the sexually explicit conversations and would have cared?
Oh, yeah, we talked about that. He said that his parents were computer stupid.
Did that stop you from talking about those things with her?
No, I answered his questions. Wherever he led it, I went, you know, I mean.
And you didn't lead any of it?
As far as, what do you mean by lead it?
The conversations about sex. You never brought up anything about sex. You only answered what he asked you about sex.
Well, I mean, one thing may lead to it, would have let, you know.
Ken, it's
Okay,
a simple
fine.
answer.
All right, fine. Yeah, I'm sure that there, at some point I brought up something that he didn't.
So by what you're saying, if his parents were home, you'd have come up here anyways, right? Because you were just going to talk to him, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you mean if his parents were home?
Yeah, you'd have just come up anyways because you were just going to talk, right? You weren't doing anything wrong.
I'm Rocky's friend Ken. I've been chatting with him online. I just wanted to meet him tonight.
Yeah. I mean, if you're just going to meet him tonight, what point, how many times do you have to meet him before you had sex with him?
I would have never had sex with him. Never.
We talk about sneaking out for your eyes, all
There
the
was
stuff swollen
conversation
loads. and you're not-
online, but you know, it's one thing when you're face to face. You know, and he's telling me what he wants. You know that he had this cousin relationship.
So that excited you?
No, I wasn't excited at all.
You wasn't?
Not in the way that you think I was.
How was you excited
Never
then?
watch movies. You drive all the way from Lexington.
I was just being friendly. I wasn't. I mean, I was not sexually excited about a 14-year-old.
This is the first time this cop in his whole life has ever been asked this question.
How in the hell can I be sexually excited personally about a 14-year-old?
I don't know. You tell me.
I can't be.
That's why you carry on these conversations with them.
Well, it was an online conversation, and I just seen it as a different. I see that differently.
You didn't see no harm in it.
Not at the time, no.
You didn't see no psychological harm in talking to somebody posed as a 14-year-old and talking this way.
Own
to
up
them.
to your deal.
No.
I told you I will never even have sex.
I mean, you see them in there all the time.
That makes it
Never
okay.
even had
No.
sex. Why do you talk about it in your chat log?
No.
You talk about it. You talk about doing it.
And the lesson for today is, don't be a pervert, or you may end up on this channel. Stay safe, everyone.
Why do you do that?
And
if you don't
subscribe.
have sex with her? You
Stay
never had
safe.
sex- you didn't have sex with her. Why would you discuss it in your chat log?
I don't know, so maybe.
Who are the people in your neighborhood? In your neighborhood, in your neighborhood. Say, who are the people?
Hey, thanks for watching to the end, guys. That's awesome. Remember to please subscribe to this channel, and I'll leave some links below and in the comment section where you can take a look around the DC universe and the Project Safe bars, which is the reason why we're here, as we are so much more than a crime channel on YouTube. We, and that means all of my subscribers to this channel, we're all on a project, a really, really big one. So take a look around and you'll see what I mean. Stay safe, all of you, and I'll see you guys either at Mass at church on Sunday. Ka kite.